and welcome to the Pikeville City Manager's Report. I'm your host, Jill Fraley-Dotson, along as always with Pikeville City Manager Donovan Blackburn. A time when we discuss all of the wonderful things that are going on in and around the city of Pikeville. Good day.
Good day, Jill.
Happy to be with you on a very cold day.
It is absolutely frigid out there today.
I do want to say one thing. We are in the coldest winter that we have had on record in so long, and it's easy to get around in the city of Pikeville, so I'm just thankful for that. I want to thank you and your connection with UMG and everybody that clears all the roads, because I know that people have found it a little difficult in the last few days, a couple of weeks actually.
Well,
seen record temperatures and snowfall.
Well, and it's not over, unfortunately. If you look at the long-term forecast, and which we pay a lot of attention to because we order road salt and do a lot of the things. But I certainly appreciate you saying that, because a lot of times in the city we have a lot of unsung heroes, and UMG is definitely one of them. These guys, once and the state does a wonderful job as well with the state highways. But when we're sleeping and the snow is falling at 3 o'clock in the morning, these guys are out of the bed in trucks and laying down salt and getting the sidewalk safe, and they do a absolutely wonderful job. So shout out goes to UMG and all those hard workers, and I certainly appreciate it.
When you're up as early as I am, traveling through the downtown streets to get to my regular job at 5 a.m., you appreciate people like that, certainly so. Well, we're going to get to a lot of fun and exciting things that we always talk about to update everyone on what's going on. It's been a while since we've been together, well into a new year. This will be our first show of the new year, and we are excited to update everyone, and we're going to get right to my favorite topic, as always, retail development. Of course, it will be the Pikeville Commons area. We are very excited. So give us a quick update on what we can see. Lots of movement and activity in that area.
Oh, Jill, I mean, I'm going into 2014, and I think I told you this at the last meeting when we did our last session when we did our update. But this is a time of year that we kick off the new year with a new plan and looking at what we're going to go and do into the spring and how things are going to break. And if you look over the past couple of years, Jill, at all the growth in and around the community and all the attention that it's received because of the growth and the SOAR initiative and job creation and all these different moving parts, we joke at City Hall with the mayor and the commission about how we're going to kind of take it easier this year and try to catch up on some of the things that we've got going on from last year, and it never seems to happen. And I say that with a smile because we're really excited because we're ready to continue to move the region forward. We've got some unbelievable plans. I think I told you during the update that we've got some great announcements that's coming that we're going to talk about a few of those things here in a moment, but certainly to update the public on what's going on with a few things. But I'm telling you, Jill, 2014 is shaping up to be unbelievable. There is so many things going on that this community is going to be really excited about, that some I can talk about today, some I can't talk about quite yet. But anyway, let's talk about retail development. I didn't mean to go down that path, but I'm excited.
Let's say this first. The ground is being turned at a rapid pace. When you pass by there, if you're going to the post office or you're going to Texas Roadhouse to eat, or you're just driving down the road there behind Walmart, you see a lot of movement. And let's just say it is still coming.
Yep.
There's a lot of talk going on, but it's still going to be there.
Well, that's and I'll start out with saying this because I'm sure you will jump in, but that's the bittersweet of social media sometimes.
You got to take the good with the bad sometimes.
You do, and it's a great way. For us, our tourism website, Jill, we have over 12,000 followers or likes. So that's people that's getting instant information from the city as things happen. Same thing with our city's website. So transparency is great. Having these tools to get the word out immediately is phenomenal, along with all of our local media. So when you look at that, it's a wonderful tool to have. The problem is sometimes facts get out there that aren't really facts, and the Pikeville Commons project has been talked about a lot on both Facebook. It's been, of course, I'm not a big fan of topics because I think there's people that hide behind facts sometimes on there, and I'm always for people having their say publicly, but sometimes these tools are used to kind of bring facts forward to create animosity, I think, at times, and this is one of those times that there's been a lot of comments in and around, especially on those sites, but for those that are on Facebook that boldly post their comments with their names, I commend you and support you. But I think it's a good opportunity to set the record straight to let the public know what's going on down at the Pikeville Commons.
So it's still going to be there. I did see, you know, we have those great apartment venues, townhouses, whatever. I mean, just gorgeous facilities that are going to be placed on top of some of the buildings there. You know, Shirley Blackburn, one of our local real estate agents, has. You know, I saw a big billboard for that yesterday where those things are leasing now. So you can't really lease something. You know, it's what, you're not going to tell them if it's not going to be there. Right. So that's going on too, certainly. And I would say that whole area, in about 9 months, it's going to look totally different.
It is already starting to look different. And if you look at but to your point, to where people can see what's coming on the ground, because when you're constructing a project this big, first of all, there's a lot of work that has to go in before you see bricks and mortar going up. Meaning that you've got to get your permits, and we've talked about this in PACE, your permits from the state, Division of Water, all the different permits for the water and the sewer. You've got to get your schematics and your drawings for your build aspects together in order to start the actual construction phase. But you'll notice, if you look on the ground, there's actually bricks and mortars starting to come out of the ground. I had a discussion actually last week with the developer. I had a couple of, and I don't want to blame all this on social media, because, look, again, I believe in the tool, we use it and we love it. But what amused me is I've had numerous people stop me on the street and say, I understand that, for example, Hobby Lobby is not coming anymore, that they're in some kind of financial trouble. There's other rumors that have been out there that we talked about off air. But let me assure the folks out there, Hobby Lobby's coming. The deal is signed. The ink is dry, everything is done. All those stores that we announced during our ribbon cutting, contracts have already been signed and they are committed.
And that's what you see being built at this moment.
That's absolutely. You see well, let me say it this way, Jill, yes and no. Dirt is being moved. The reason the dirt's being moved the way that it is and where the building is first going is because they've got to get the post office out of the way, okay? The post office cannot close. They still have to be in business, and that was part of their agreement. So what the contractor has to do, or the developer, is he's building a new post office so that he can move the existing post office folks into the new post office in order to demolish the existing post office to make the way for the bigger boxes. So if you look at the site right now, the left-hand side is the strip center and the post office and the apartments. That's what's actually under construction, and they've had geotech people down there doing their drilling. They've been bringing in lifts of material to subcompact it, to bring it up so that it can support the weight of the facilities. The right-hand side of the development's nowhere near as complex as the left-hand side. The left-hand side actually had a lot of fill in it. At one time, years and years ago, that used to be an old landfill area. So there was some what they call trash under the dirt that they had to literally go in and pull out. When we built Texas Roadhouse, we had to physically go in and dig down 10 feet, get rid of all that material, and then bring 10 feet of new material in this rock and subbase in order to build up to support the facility. That's the same thing that's going on down there right now. They've done that on the left-hand side. They've come now out of the ground with the bricks and mortar to build the post office. So once this starts moving forward, the right-hand side of the property, it's on solid base. There was no fill brought in. So they'll bring in some fill to bring up the elevation, but they don't have to excavate out the old fill, so it will go a lot faster than what the left-hand side. But all the permits are completed. Everything's been signed off on. It is under construction, and things are moving forward. And the one thing I want to get folks that are listening out there to understand is that the developer, you don't have to believe everything you read on the internet. As the old commercial says, it must be true because it was on the internet. Yeah. But seriously, those stores that we announced, Ross's, Dress for Less, Marshall's,
Ulta,
Hobby Lobby, all those and others, Rack Room, all those contracts are executed, signed, and the developer is building those facilities.
The developer you speak of, Neil Wilson, has become a great friend of yours, yes, and for the city too, and is very excited. And maybe in the next couple of weeks we may have him, yes, come visit with us so he can update us from his perspective too.
Yeah, he's really excited. Like I said, I had a good conversation with him last week, ironed out some of his details. And even to take him further down the road, when I was telling him about some of the rumors that were in the market, he kind of laughed. He said, "Well, I guess I need to let these different retailers know because they've already sublet some of their work out. So I know that they've got, for example, there's a local builder here that's doing all the interior work for the doors and some windows from a couple of these. Mm-hmm. So that's nothing that the city's involved with. That's what the developer is. But they've already let that work out, ready for it to start. So he's already hired workers, I guess, to do the actual physical building development as part of these contracts as well. So things are moving forward. Just we got to be a little bit patient. It takes a little bit of time. We've had some weather issues, obviously.
Clearly.
And that's always the unforeseen is that you don't know what the weather's going to do this time of the year when you're in the building phase. But things are going great. We're excited to get that new development open. Going to be a lot of great opportunities for the community, for shopping experiences, and a lot of jobs that comes along with it.
And that's the great thing too, because we see so many. We've had taken such a hit with the coal industry, but a lot of those jobs are going to be well-paying managerial type jobs.
Absolutely.
So a lot of really good coming along with this, not just the opportunities to keep us from traveling, but also bringing in people to spend their hard-earned dollars here, but putting our people to work too, which is so important.
It really is. I had the great opportunity yesterday. I was invited by President Hurley to come up yesterday to lecture to one of his classes on what's going on about infrastructure and building, and I had a really good time. But it's funny how almost every time I come to talk about something, everything turns to what's going on with the retail development and how does that impact. So we spent a lot of time with the students yesterday talking about just that, what's happening with this development. And you have to realize not just the impact that it has immediately on a $40 million investment in the new jobs, and the shopping experiences, but every person in there working that generates a salary then invests that money back in their own community. So if you're staying here to shop, instead of, other words, I work for the city, if I get my paycheck and I take my paycheck to Lexington to spend it, because that's where the variety is, then I'm helping their economy. Mm-hmm. Where in this case, we're able to start building an economy to where we can take our own hard-earned cash and reinvest it back in our own community, because when you reinvest those dollars, they turn over time and time and time again.
Shopping local.
That's shopping local. This is what it's about, creating our own economy, our own community, and bringing people here. So as we move forward, what we're talking about with this tourism initiative, that's what this is all about.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about bond refinancing and grant commitments quickly.
Okay, this isn't, again, I think it's important for the community to know as we move forward through transparency. We've talked over the last year about moving forward with a new sewer plant. We have the design completed, ready to go to bid very soon. For the first phase, it's a two-phase because this is new technology like nobody else has. But this puts us in this position, Jill, that we'll be able to take care of our growth for hopefully the next 20, 30 years. With that said, one of the things that everybody obviously wants to be concerned about is, well, what's this going to cost us? Because part of this will be bonded. You can't go in and build a $20 million facility and you don't have $20 million, just sitting on the side in an account. You have to go after grants. You have to go after bonding opportunities, and what we've been able to do, we've been very creative with our financial position. I've got a great Tanya Taylor, who is my director of finance, is also a certified CPA. She understands financing, and I've challenged her over the past several months to do some things creative, and we have been able to, over the past year, to pay off a significant amount of debt by paying some bonds off early, which saved us a tremendous amount of interest. We've saved about $1.2 million last year. The commission just approved another payoff that I asked to do, and that will save us about $120,000. But the reason I bring all this up is that I wanted the folks to understand that this has a direct impact on what is to come. Because by paying off all these bonds and these services early, we now don't have that debt that we'll be able to roll over into new debt, so it shouldn't impact, again, the rates as significantly. The mayor has been very vocal to, as you have growth, understand we have some of the lowest utility rates in the entire state of Kentucky. The city of Pikeville does. And we realize they have been low, and we've kept them low in order to try to attract business with all the other services that we've offered. But it's also been understood that at some point we're going to have to increase those rates as we take on new debt service, because we're at 100% of our current capacity of our sewer plant. Okay, so we can't do these retail developments if I don't have a place to put the sewer and to create the water needs for them. So like what we've just have recently done is paid off a lot of debt, positioning ourselves for this new rate study that will soon follow. The hope is with the debt we've paid off, with the new debt that we'll incur, and on top of that, all the grants that we are applying for, that will be some offsetting costs to where it won't be as significant as it would have been without all this. So I think the rate adjustments will be relatively fairly low. But the beauty of it is that we've got a 30-year projection or a 20 or 30-year projection for growth in a facility that we can grow into. So that's again, the 10 years that I've done this job. My anniversary with the city was January 12th, so I've been here 10 years now. So the 10 years, this is the biggest project that we've worked on because it not just because of the price tag, Jill, but because of what it means for 20 or 30 years down the road for the city of Pikeville and for our growth potential and opportunity. So I know it's something that isn't always fun to talk about, a sewer plant.
But you have to have it.
But you have to have
Absolutely.
it, and it impacts every resident, every business, and I want to make sure that we're keeping the public aware of what's going on. And then besides that, I'm really excited. We are in the phase right now that I have met with numerous federal and state agencies for various grant opportunities. I've met with Congressman Rogers, I've met with Governor Beshear's folks, and they understand the significance that Pikeville plays and the sewer plant plays to the growth of Eastern Kentucky. Not just Pikeville, not to the region, but just to Eastern Kentucky. And that's what the importance of it, because again, often you've heard that the city city only has 10% of the population of the county. But what one has to again understand is that 34% of the businesses are here, and that we also service the city of Coal Run. And if you combine the businesses of Coal Run and the businesses of Pikeville, then what you've got is over 50% of the businesses that Pike Countyans and the rest of the region relies upon for jobs, for services, that without the sewer system and the water system and the services that we offer, it stifles growth, but it places a big burden on those businesses that have to pay additional services where they could be putting and investing into the business or into payroll. So this is extremely important. But we have met with agencies like ARC, Appalachian Region Commission, Rural Development, EDA, and I could go on and on. And I'm very pleased with where the grant, the funding and grant package and where we're heading with this, because I think the public is going to see that, again, the governor and the congressman both, and I don't want to leave out, Senator McConnell reached out this past week as well. I sent him a letter a couple of months ago asking for his assistance, and he is also making calls on the city's behalf, understanding the significance of this. So we have, the governor, a senator, and a congressman that understand the importance of it and is working with us, along with all these other funding agencies out of both Washington and in state. And actually, tomorrow is Friday. I'm going to Frankfort tomorrow to meet with the Commissioner of the Department for Local Government, Leslie Combs and Ray Jones, on the importance of this, because they also understand it. So we've got a lot of legislative support, not only for the sewer plant, the bonding initiatives, but also understanding the growth potential as up to what we need. So a lot of great stuff, but
yeah.
It's not always fun to talk about.
But it's necessary, and we do want to make sure that everybody understands the significance of it. We talked about tourism earlier and bringing people into our area, not only for our retail development that we're so excited about, which we talked extensively about a few moments ago, but our tourism getting out of the winter months into the spring months. The river trail will open up, the horse trail, we're going to talk about that coming up, but we have hired somebody to take that on officially now. So tell us about this person.
Oh, and now it's the fun stuff. Let's talk about all the fun stuff.
For the next 40 minutes, we're going to talk about fun stuff.
Fun stuff. Again, when you look at, let me say this before I introduce our new Executive Director of Tourism. When you look at the SOAR initiative and what the message was there, is that there is key areas that we really need to invest time, money, and effort in order to diversify our economy, to create job opportunity and for this region to move forward. Education is one of the areas, and if you look at what the university is doing, it's unbelievable. And they've got so many plans, and it's unbelievable where they're heading. I had the opportunity yesterday, as I said, and speaking with some of the students, I went over to the new Berlin-Coleman College of Business yesterday, and the first time I've been back to City Hall since that they have furnished it with all the new technology. It is absolutely amazing. The technology that they've got in that building for the students there is absolutely, I'm telling you, state-of-the-art, cutting-edge, wonderful, wonderful equipment. So when you look at what the university is doing in education, and not just the university, but the big city, the community college, we look at the independent school system, we look at the county school system, and we are moving rapidly forward in education, and that's going to help in many different ways. Creating young entrepreneurs, getting the brain power back into our region. I know that our legislators have a big fight ahead of them, continued fight over trying to bring funding back for the possibility of a state institution, or at least awarding funding for the students to continue to higher education. But so education is, I won't say it's taken care of, but there's a lot of great plans to improve Eastern Kentucky with what these institutions are doing. Healthcare is another area. If you look at healthcare, it's the city's largest employer. It not only provides a great service, but it provides a lot of jobs. So if you look at what Pikeville Medical Center as a regional health care is doing, they're addressing some of that area. So the other two areas, and there was a couple of others, but the two areas I want to highlight is industrial growth opportunity and then tourism. So industrial, we have a big plan and things that we're working on with Marion's branch. So the other area that we can concentrate on to create jobs, create diversity, and to really open up our region is retail, and then also tourism.
Right.
When I say retail, it's not just a shopping experience, but it's also places to come and eat. Keeping our region, because when you look at Pikeville, again, we've got 500,000 people within a 50-mile radius. So instead of that 500,000 driving 100 miles plus to go to Lexington, Charleston, Kingsport, blah blah blah, those areas, let's get them here. Let's let them reinvest in their own communities that they live in. Same is said for tourism. Instead of our folks having to leave the region, let's start looking at ways to bring people into our region, because as we've said time and time again, we've got so much more, in my opinion, than one place like Gatlinburg, and it's a different kind of land. The topography is a little bit different, but we've got so many things to offer that we just need to bundle them and put them in a way that people can enjoy them. So here we are. The city has part of our comprehensive plan coming forward, and part of where we're heading is a commitment to tourism. So at the last meeting, and actually yesterday was his first day, but Larry McGoy has been selected and started work yesterday as the city's new Director of Tourism and Events. Now, and I say the Executive Director because we also have a Director of Tourism. We're also going to have a Director of Events. But we have hired Larry as the Executive Director, which will oversee all the initiatives some of those we'll talk about here in just a moment. But Larry was originally from this area, from the Virgie area. He has been serving his country for the past close to, I think, 30 years. He has a vast experience in leading a lot of people, doing a lot of things, and some of the things I won't say I can't talk about, but he couldn't talk about. But he is at the time he served his country abroad and leading every branch of military over their equipment, as was I believe his last assignment. But if you look at his extensive resume and the things that he has done for his country is just absolutely astonishing and amazing. And we're just very blessed that he decided to come back home and to be reinvested back in his community, and he's going to bring a lot of those traits that the government taught him over the years to this tourism initiative. So a very likable guy, very outgoing, very smart, but is really going to impact where we're heading with tourism.
Very excited to have him on board. We'll have him too on our show hopefully once he gets his gets a grasp on things. Yeah, we don't want to bring him in here, second day on the job. Also, he will have help from Justin Prater. Justin Prater is our new Director of Tourism. We've made an offer of the Director of Events, which we hope to name later, but Justin, again, is a young University of Pikeville graduate. He's just recently out of school. He's had some work experience with Lightyear prior to doing this. Justin's a very outgoing guy, young man that's got a million ideals, very outspoken, got a lot of Facebook friends. I've been one of them for years and have just kind of got amused by some of his forward thinking and very clever. Very, very, very clever gentleman. So when you look at Director of Tourism, there's a lot of different things that's coming underneath this field. And social media, as we talked about earlier, is one of them, is us using social media a lot different. We're totally redesigning our website. That's going to be talking about some of these initiatives that we've got. So Justin's going to play a tremendous role
and the River Trails program, our website and social media program, that's going to be kind of his baby specifically to rock, even though that Sean Cochran and Larry and Justin and our next person will all four come together to play an important part on the growth of tourism and what our true commitment is. So let's talk about a few of those things.
Can we? Let's talk about this. Well, the one thing that a lot of people who use the YMCA and the track and the multipurpose trail and the facilities there have noticed when you drive up to the overlook, you're passing a great big horse barn now that is completely finished. It is ready to house beautiful, beautiful animals. And we have hired somebody who is going to oversee that, and she has been in this area for a long time. Very excited to have Miss Betty Tackett.
Oh, Betty's name is synonymous throughout our area in the horse business, equestrian business, and she is a wonderful, wonderful lady, and
she's a pretty good cook too.
Good cook. So we got the best of all.
We do.
But we are just extremely delighted. Dream Stables is her corporate name. Mm-hmm. We have we actually executed the contract this past week. The commission approved it at last Monday's meeting. We negotiated a deal with her that we've been working on some time. The city committed a little over $300,000 into building the stable, but much more than the stable. If you haven't been up to look at the stable, it's a magnificent facility, but it's more than that, Jill, in that we created about 3 miles of breathtaking trail system, but it's linked. And if there was a recent story in the local paper in the News Express. Where I'm quoted as of the and because I want to clarify that as well. The reporter did a great job, but I just want to expand on it a little bit. But what we've got is 3 miles of trail, but I've also got another 6 miles of walking trail. So what the city has the opportunity of doing is if we want to do a major event one weekend, we can close down the walking trail for just that event, not all the time. To expand that up to a 10-mile trail or even greater than that, because there's some other areas that we can loop back into that we'll concentrate on that's already open, that can be utilized that's on city property as well. So what we have is the $320,000 we just spent was on the creation of the barn, the creation of the new trail that links over into Island Creek and then comes back around. We used it this past year, part of it this past year for the Rough Tough Cuss.
Yeah, we're going to talk about something else that's going to go on that trail, but I got really adventurous a couple weeks ago when it was pretty. And I knew about these, and you can kind of wind your way back through. Gorgeous, and you talk about a workout.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to really challenge yourself,
yes.
And a lot of races and events coming up are going to utilize those trails. But that's just the thing that we've been talking about. We're going to have the horse trails, but then we have the multipurpose that links back in. There are going to be so many trails there that people can use if you are a new hiker or a new walker or a new person that's into that. You can utilize those trails for that. Or if you want to be a little bit more expansive, let me tell you, and you know this firsthand, it can really provide you with a lot of great exercise.
Well, the beauty of the cardio that you get there is that it's elevated, then flat, then downhill, elevated, flat, downhill. So you get your heart.
A lot of elevation.
A lot of elevation. Yes, you.
A lot of elevation.
Some big elevation.
Yes, straight up.
So you get your it is a great workout, and there's more and more people that's up there walking those trails, and we're just we're very blessed to have such beauty in the area, and I step back and look at this vision that the commission had. We've been talking about this for the last 8-9 years to get it to this point, and we're there. We're on that verge, and now we're with Betty. We have a full equestrian service that she will be providing. The city's providing the facilities and the support, and that she's providing the actual events. So let's talk first about the horse barn itself. The horse barn has a round riding rink where she will be able to do lessons. It is handicap accessible for special needs. She'll be doing some therapeutic riding, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. But we went further than that. She agreed to offer a full equestrian education program is what I'll call it, by going to the school systems to educate the kids, to whatever school system that may want that, both in the independent and the county. But the trail ride is something that I'm really excited about. She's got several horses. I think around 18, 19 horses that she actually owns that are trail ride available that she'll be utilizing. She'll be bringing probably about 9 or 10 of those to the barn that she'll be offering starting Hillbilly Days, offering weekend trail rides. So you'll be able to come in and at any time and have an absolutely gorgeous and breathtaking. Now there is 20 stalls up there, so she's also going to offer some housing for some of our local people live here in the city that may have the horse somewhere else that want to bring it in to use it for the trail ride. So she'll be doing some housing as well. But again, more than that. So you got the trail rides and the I'm trying to think, the rink
for lessons.
Lessons. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. But one of the other cool things she's going to do is also birthday parties up there.
How fun is that?
So she has these ponies that she's able to bring up there too for the kids. So she'll do, and again, we haven't solidified all the pricing, but for $200 is what she was estimating to come up and actually to provide the decorations, 20 pony rides for a child to have a birthday party up here at this facility.
That's a great price, especially if you have a bunch of kids that are so involved and want the horse parties and things. And I think about a lot of people who take their kids to Lexington and to Louisville, to the horse park and Keeneland and those places where, they have all those horses and everything there on site. Well, we're going to be able to provide that opportunity here, which just is another feather in the cap.
Well, when you look to your point at all the trails with the river trails and the walking trails and the riding trails, and now you've got the horse trails, it's a full-blown horse equestrian system that offers all these different services, including the ability of having a birthday party. And we get calls all the time. And I just got a call this past week of somebody that was a little aggravated by the fact that the city park is booked up every single weekend during the summer now because we've got so many events going on. And a lot of them are weddings and birthday parties. So here's another outlet opportunity for you to have, again, quality of life, but provide a little bit of unique, different twist to it. So we challenged Betty. And what I have found thus far is there's nothing you can't put in front of her that she won't take the challenge up. And so there's something we've been wanting to do for the last 2 years, Jill, and we just didn't have the opportunity or the resources to be able to do it ourselves, but Miss Betty can. And that is
you need a shirt that says that Miss Betty can, because she is.
She can do it.
Talk about a resourceful woman. She can get it done.
Well, there's no doubt about that. So I put 3 other things outside the scope of just the equestrian trail, and she jumped right in. We executed the contract, and she's moving forward with that as well. The first one I'm really excited to announce, and it started out with, if you talk about all the events we have in the city park, we have a lot of weddings down there, and a lot of the weddings would like to have some type of carriage to bring the bride into the park. So we started talking about this. We started talking about it originally on a small scale. And I challenged her and said, I want the small scale. The commission wants something grand so that we can continue to enhance our tourism opportunities. So what Miss Betty's done is she has acquired a full carriage, historical type carriage that will be available downtown for historical rides. So what we're going to do is, again, you can rent it for weddings, but there'll be certain times of the day that will be on the website that you'll be able to go in. And again, for what the fee hasn't been established yet, but she is actually acquiring new horses that have been trained to be around traffic, that are safe, where she can be out again on a weekend and take you through the downtown trail to do. A group would be able to book the carriage for a Hatfield and McCoy partial tour, or for just a historical trail, and that's part of why we've brought Justin on board. One of Justin's responsibilities is there's so many people out there that has a lot of the historical stories of downtown Pikeville that we're going to create the skit for this historical trail ride, where you'll get in and you can learn some things that you may not have known about Pikeville from a different view. So just like going to, I got back from New York last year, and my wife and I took a carriage ride through Central Park. Having that same ability here within our community is another service that she will be offering. On top of that, the city, as you know, Jill, has done the Hatfield and McCoy bus tour.
Yes.
We have challenged Betty to take over that tour. So the same gentleman that she's going to be hiring that's going to be giving the carriage tour, that once you're finished doing the carriage tour, then if you want also to go over and do the bus tour, he'll be doing the bus tours for us as well. So, and the intent is from the city is job creation. Here, we've just hired another group that, we just signed an agreement on the new cafe. So we've again created several new jobs, and we've used some resources that the city has to bring an entrepreneur in that wants to create a new job, but a new quality of life and a new opportunity. So not only are we going to be offering a total new line of cafe goods there in the old chamber office, we've got right from that, you've got a horse trail, or you got a horse trail not too far from that, but you've got carriage rides. Also downtown.
Let's jump back for just a second to the cafe that you're talking about. We kind of skipped over that a little bit. Going to be in the building, or they're right at the bottom of the steps, right there at the red light. Talk a little bit about what that's going to be.
Well, one of the things that the Commission's challenged me to do is for me to look at every asset that the city has in and around, and look at what the return on that investment is, and see if there's a way that we can create an opportunity to generate, again, services and jobs. So that's why I said there's several other things I can't talk about yet that you're going to be very excited to hear down the road. One of the things that we had instantly available was the old chamber, the old baggage compartment house, which years ago used to be the city's utility office, and then it was a chamber's office. It's been vacant for a little while. I've looked at different businesses, so we put out an RFP asking for proposals, specifically looking for an internet cafe or a donut kind of layout. Coffee place, something like a Starbucks. Starbucks was in the market. Unfortunately, they don't have stores close enough by to where they could create a route to come into the market. I think they'll be in the market within the next 2 years based on what they told me. So what we thought, well, instead of doing a national brand, why don't we try to create a local business? So we put in an RFP. We had several people that submitted their proposals. They went through a review process through the Main Street Board, who made a recommendation back to the city, and that I'm happy to announce that James and Michelle Sword was awarded that contract. They're undergoing their financing right now with the bank, hopefully to start construction within the next couple of weeks. We've signed, again, executed a contract today, as a matter of fact, with them. But we asked for very detailed plans, Jill, and what we wanted is what are you going to sell, how are you going to sell, what's the price point, what's your hours, and what they've come in the business name. So the business name for the new business is Roasted.
Love it.
It's a great name, great model that they're using. So like a Starbucks, you're going to have a full array of coffees and teas. You're going to have sandwiches, pastries, desserts, some health conscious pastries as well. They brought some samples to the City Commission meeting as part of their presentation, and some of the goods that they brought was absolutely unbelievable. And
they've been in business too for a while with their event planning business, so they've been around to see the different aspect of what they would want to bring to a locally owned coffee house, which I think we like Starbucks too, but there's something about local people owning that kind of business that is very detailed in what they're going to be offering.
Well, it's not the thing I like about it's not a cookie cutters approach.
Right.
They can offer, if something works that we want our community, instead of coming in and saying, here's the 5 flavors that we offer because that's our national brand, they can come in and say, well, this one works, this one doesn't. They can try some things differently. So, it's a unique concept, but, the design of what they're going to do with that facility, because they brought in fabrics and the furniture and all the things that they want to do. It's going to be a first-rate facility people are going to be very proud of. But again, located, Jill, and you just mentioned a moment ago, but located at the bottom of the 99. So catering to the college, university students, catering to the 2 hotels that's down the street. But more important, and the other thing that we have to remember is that's establishing an economy downtown, or a destination point. So the more and more people we bring downtown, the more and more that those folks are going to try other places to eat and to visit and to shop. So this opens up, and that's what the intent of creating an arts and cultural district in the downtown area is. Because as people are, and I'm going to jump down the list just a second for one item, and we'll pass over as we come back to the horse trail. But as you can hear, but some of the thumping and beating next door, you've got the Jenny Wiley Theater.
Right.
That will also open in around April or May. So when you get coffee house, theater, some of the things with the Main Street programs, along with the new hotels, the carriage rides, these are the things that we had vision on years ago. The commission wanted to see how we can put it together, and it's coming to fruition. It's here. Contracts are signed.
I think one of the neatest things is that in maybe a year or so, maybe a year and a half, you're going to be able to park downtown, park on the street, use the parking facility, whichever you choose. You're going to be able to go to a great restaurant to have a meal. You're going to be able to go to the park to do whatever it is that you just sit and enjoy the landscape. take a carriage ride, go over to the Roasted for coffee and dessert, and then just walk the streets of a beautiful downtown area and then take in a Jenny Wiley show. I mean, really, it is everything that you need to do. And speaking of our hotels downtown, I have had the opportunity now to have dinner at the new Hilton Garden Inn. Phenomenal.
First rate.
And sit right there at the windows and have your dinner with the fireplace and look outside. I mean, it's just amazing to see how the town has grown in the last, well, I will say 5 years, but certainly 10 years.
Well, and Jill, you did a great job describing what has happened over the last several years, and that's just in the downtown district, not counting the other areas that this commission has worked on. But when you look at the transformation of what has happened to get us to this point today, when you look at 300 events scheduled in the city park every year now, when you look at what's going to happen this year, it's totally different. I mean, it's got a different finesse because we have laid the foundation to get to the point to where we're at. And you're right. Any weekend you're going to be able to come out and do something different that you've had to go to other places either to do, or something that's going to be a little unique. With Betty, I got off subject a little bit, but finishing up on Betty, one of the other, not only the carriage rides and the historical rides, and she's going to take over the riding trail. What we're doing is Monday night I've got a proposal where the city is purchasing a 15-passenger van that we will be using for our River Trails program, which frees up the bus that we have to do just the riding trails. So we've got dedicated people to do, instead of one person trying to do it all, we are committing to these events to bring people to downtown Pikeville and to, again, that will be shopping and eating and doing all the other things as well. But we've got Les Crook, who is the acting manager over at the Expo Center, and his boss, Greg Olson, who's the vice president of operations, that's out of New Orleans. I have met with them and have challenged them on how we operate the Expo Center. And it was a good foundation that was placed there, but we need to grow beyond that. We need to create more opportunities. So the Expo Center, I've got under a lot of scrutiny right now at challenging them of how we can get the best return on that investment also for the community, but more importantly, provide additional attractions and things that this community would like, along with pulling people from outside the community. One one event that has been very difficult to have are dirt events, is what we call them, dirt events. Tractor pulls, rodeos, those types. And though they had a couple early on, the cost to do those they're very expensive.
Pretty substantial.
Because you actually have to haul all that dirt in, and that's where you lose. So they end up becoming a lost product because, a lost event because of all the products that you have to have. So what we've done is that we have approached, I've challenged them. They have a promoter that actually does these type of events that is willing to sign a long-term contract with the Expo Center. Problem, we have to have a place to where we can store the dirt that's in close proximity to try to save the money. We have approached the Pikeville Independent School System for the field that they have over by the bus garage. They met this past week to hear we've got a great relationship with the Independent School System. We do a lot for their sports programs. They understand the need for the community and are always looking for ways to improve quality of life. So I commend their board on the work that they do, and Mr. Green, who's a great friend of mine. So we should have hopefully something worked out with them. If not, we've got other opportunities. But that would be best because of the short distance in order to haul the dirt. So what we're working on now is bringing in a tractor pull, for example, that will be probably announced here very shortly. We're trying to work out the details. I'm hoping we'll be able to work out the details, but we're 90% there. The intent is that when we have the tractor pull or the rodeo 2 or 3 times a year, what we'll do is leave the dirt in the facility and then come back with Betty, and she is well known for doing horse shows in Prestonsburg. So what we'll do is we'll have an indoor equestrian event a week after when we have a tractor pull. So it gives us the ability of having multiple events, but indoors in a nice climate to cater again to our community. So that's things that we've not been able to do in the past that we're going to be able to do now.
That will be so much fun.
Like I said, just ecstatic.
Yeah, and another thing that you will not have to go, 60, 70, 80 miles to see. It will be right here. Yeah, exactly. One of the other things I want us to talk a little bit about is we've talked about the bleacher system that we're wanting to put in place next to the Expo Center that will again open up drag racing and all of that fun entertainment that we started with last year.
Well, again, when you look at the whole picture, right now we are under the design phase for this bleacher system. We hope to be able to go out to bid on it within the next few weeks. The intent is to have this thing completed by the end of April, so that again, when the weather is warm and we're ready to start doing our drag races and all these other events, that's part of the reason that we brought this committed team on. Our intent is to have something going on in that venue, meaning down in the Riverfield, every weekend, other than during the time frames where there's a major expo event going on, because we certainly don't want to take up that important parking area. So doing a larger Main Street Live, doing the drag races, doing outdoor theater, and hopefully we're going to reach out to the ACT and the ACT Theater and Jenny Wiley. So, we see outdoor concerts, and we've had, again, back to the Expo Center, in challenging them, one of the things that I've gone to them on is them actually helping me manage bringing in some events, not just to play them in the Expo Center, but to play them in this outdoor seating area. Because again, we'll seat 2,500 people in the bleacher system, along with having the ability of putting some down in the parking lot themselves. So we should be able to easily get about 3,200 people for any event. So we can see some outdoor concerts, not on a national brand, but local people and local talents.
That's what I was going to say. Once that system is in place and we have ideas of what we want there, that will just expand into many more things that we probably hadn't even thought of yet to put there that will utilize that wonderful facility. And the thing is that we're not bringing in a lot of metal, we're using our own landscape to make that, which makes it much more unique than any other place that we have around the area.
Well, that's a good point, Jill. We're not using bleachers, aluminum bleachers. We're using the existing landscape to utilize these terrace seating. It's going to bring some nice aesthetics to the Riverfield, but more important, it's going to give us the opportunity of continuing down this path. One thing I'll mention too, we keep talking about the Expo Center and all the events that's going on there. I would announce that this coming Monday, the City Commission, I hope that the City Commission trying to think of the word to use, but approve, I guess, is the easiest way to go, but confirm the new general manager for the East Kentucky Expo Center. John Mazzola is the candidate that the job has been offered to through SMG. Pursuant to our contract with SMG to operate the Expo Center, the City Commission gets to, I should say, affirm that one employee position because it's such an important position for the community. So we've been on a several-month search on trying to find the right person that not only has the background, but again, that fits with our community. And had a great 2-hour interview with John a couple of weeks ago, and they've been going back and forth. And it was apparent that this guy is, a great guy. He's got a lot of experience in these type of facilities. Came in with a million ideas of ways to improve, and I threw him some curveballs, and he answered them all perfectly about community service and getting the community more involved in the Expo Center. So the public's really going to like this guy, I believe, and I'm really excited to get him on board. The commission will approve him Monday night, hopefully confirm him. Once they do that, he won't start until I think it's the February 10th, somewhere in that range, 11th will be his official start date. But the commission should hopefully affirm his employment by this meeting. And of course, again, we will have him on. Yes. To kind of like listen to his ideas. You've heard the great ideas, but the community certainly will want to hear the ideas that Mr. Mazzola has. So we look forward to having him on this show. Now, we've talked a lot about the Expo Center and about the trails and about the different events. One of the things that we mentioned, the Rough Tough Cuss earlier, there are a lot of runs, I should say, and walks being planned that are going to utilize those. We do want to talk about the Hog Wild Run that's going to be, I think it's at the end of May. I don't know the exact date, I can't remember, but that's going to utilize 7 miles of that trail system looping in and out. Much of it will be the Rough Tough Cuss course without the obstacles, right. But the landscape provides an obstacle enough. But that's just one event that's coming up, going to utilize those trail systems, and I know there will be more throughout the year. Well, there are many more, and that's the beauty of what has really caught on. And this is happening all across the country. We haven't had as much of it as others. Williamson has done their race for years, and it's been successful and has grown. And that's what we want to do as well. This past couple of years, we've had numerous 5K runs downtown, walks, runs. There's some that everybody's now familiar with, the specific ones that we do. So I won't say the problem, but part of the challenge is that now that there's so many, everybody wants to do one. So what we're going to do actually to captivate this opportunity is to form a committee that some of these new hires will oversee, and bring on some of the names that have done a lot of the planning for these events, and to have an actual yearly in advance schedule of all the different runs that we're going to sanction and host, either as a partner or the city host them ourselves, so that people will know what runs are when, what they represent, how they can participate, what the trail is going to be. And it's the fun stuff, Jill, is the variety. It's everything from a zombie run to the
Pink Pipe Will Pink.
Pink Pipe Will Pink run, to the rough tough cuss. You have to say it real
We
slow.
also have like the runs for Judy's Place for Kids, and a lot of your runs and activities that are centered around causes,
right,
which I think is really important. And the greatest thing about those particular runs are that you don't have to be an avid runner. There always is a walk portion of that, and to see the families get out with their kids in strollers and families and the youngsters being out, and we're so much about community.
Amen.
And all of those things all trickle back to the fact that we can do things with our kids. We can bring them to Jenny Wiley now as soon as that opens up. Hopefully in April is the launch date for that. So it's just more community involvement over and over and over again.
It is, and no pun intended, but it's for walks of all life. You to your point, I've seen the crawling and in strollers, and folks pushing them to a couple of 5Ks that I did last year, to see the 8 and 9 year old group, and then to see the teenagers. So I mean, it's literally, and all the UPITE students, and it's literally all age groups.
Yeah.
And it's not about the person that crosses the finish line. It's about, to your point, coming out for a cause, getting healthy, doing something that is challenging your body and it's physical activity and it's being outdoors. And I've done, one race in the rain. I've done a race where it's 90 degrees outside, or run. I won't say a race because that's what they are. Is they're runs. And with the health issues that a lot of Eastern Kentuckians face, getting people engaged in these type of activities, whether it's kayaking on the river, whether it's horseback riding, whether it's a walk, whether it's a run, it's not only fun and out enjoying the great outdoors, but it's good for us, it's healthy for us. So, which is part of what, the Get Healthy initiative that the commission challenged me on, and had a lot of great ideals to do. So, great events, and this committee will be a very active committee, and we've got all kinds of people that want to serve, but, it's a point to where we'll have, items stored so that it has trail markers and all these things that we'll be able to utilize to make it more of a very professional setting while still having a good time.
Absolutely, as always. We do want to mention that we still have a lot of festivals coming up this year. Hillbilly Days will be here before we know it. It's rapidly approaching. Then we also have Hatfield McCoy Days. We have the 4th of July celebration that we kind of instituted last year, and we'll want to expand upon that this year too. So a lot of those things in place, and like I said, I know that takes up a lot of your time as well.
Well, we're involved in all those events. The Kiwanis, the Hillbilly Christmas in July. Along with all these events, we've got all the other smaller festivals and things that go throughout the year also. So again, expanding the staff and giving each one of them a specific responsibility to oversee will make it easier for us, but yet still allow those attractions and things to take place within our community. And of course, our kickoff is Hillbilly Days, and it'll be here before we know it.
But before that, we have some other things that are going to happen too, like we have the April River cleanup. We're going to get all the tires out of the river. Our friend Karen Kelly is committed to helping us oversee that. She works for Congressman Rogers' office too, good friend of mine, and she is very excited about that. Was with Pride way back when it started years and years ago. So we look forward to that. And then in a little over a month from today, we're going to launch a little thing called commercial air service.
Yes, we are. And
3rd of March, I think?
It is the 3rd of March. Starting next month, the 1st of February, the company that was hired to do the marketing piece will be announcing the startup, talking about how to purchase your tickets. There is some final details that are being worked out now that we'll be able to announce here within the next probably week or 2 weeks, but everything is going very smooth. We are working with all the agencies that we need to work with to get all the final pieces of the puzzles put together. But this is going to be a great opportunity for not just people from here to get out, to go to Nashville and to other destinations as an international airport, but more important, for people to come in.
That's right.
I mean, all these great things, we're glad we have them, but we want to create an economy and share them. Mm-hmm. And challenge, and that's the beauty of all this, Jill, is that we've got Elkhorn City out there that's looking at becoming a trail town. Mm-hmm. I mean, this thing is not only infectious, but those that are around us are the Hatfield and McCoy trails. The county's worked real hard on the train ride. All these different things that are going on that generates tourism in our community are again pulling more and more people that will fill our hotel rooms up. We'll put people in our restaurants. We'll sell gas, and all the things that creates a great economy.
You talk about the river trails and things of that nature. There's one thing on your list that I do want us to mention, and that is the creation of a ramp that will be behind one of our very popular restaurants, you tell me, a place where I, had a situation in the river last year, I guess it was. When I could have used this.
You flipped.
I did, in a kayak, which is all my fault. But I would have loved to have had something like this that's going to be built behind Pig in a Poke, which is where the incident took place.
And I've flipped so many times, it's not funny, but it's a
great story, though.
It is.
Or something like that.
And it's comic relief for those that are all around me.
It is.
So as you know.
Well, mine too.
We've got, again, great partners in our community, and of course Mitch Potter, a local businessman and developer of several tracts of property. We were able to do some property swapping with him and in the past, and one of the things that he has committed contractually to do for us is they're going to be constructing a ramp, stair type system down into the river behind Pig in a Poke, so that as you're coming down halfway through the trail, you can get out. You can get you something to eat there at Pig in a Poke, or Long John's is right beside of that. Stretch your legs a little bit and get back in the ramp and do it again.
Yeah, because at the back of Pick and a Poke, there's a huge piece of flat property
Beautiful
there.
Area.
Gorgeous place. I mean, I can just envision a lot of different things there. Knowing the work that he does anyway, it will be a fantastic addition to that area.
Well, and again, we want to promote our local businesses as part of our trail system. Yeah. So the more we can pull, and that's why the exit ramp was constructed down by Pikeville Commons, was specifically so that as we pull people out of the water, their vehicle will be waiting on them, but there'll be shopping experiences, places to eat, all the other things that comes along with it, creating an economy.
Lots of great things still going to come to that area. I look forward to Neil Wilson coming back to make a visit with us.
Well, I'm hoping, and I'll say this, stay tuned, because I've got 3 or 4 new announcements I'm hoping to be able to make over the next month or two that, is going to wow your socks off. People are going to be really thrilled with what's happening.
Very exciting.
This commission's active, I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, they don't sit back, do they?
They do not.
They get very excited. And of course, the bottom line, making a greater place for our people that live here and bringing in more dollars to our area so we can share with them, like you said earlier, everything that we have to offer. Donovan, we've covered a lot today. Always a great time, and we'll do it again soon.
Sounds great.
This has been the Pikeville City Managers Report. Have a wonderful day.